Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.
Well, no matter how much you may choose to ignore it, the election is just around the corner. And just in case you're wondering how to actually fill out the forms on the day, we have everything you need to know up next. Josephine Thornton has more.
Preferential voting is a system in which candidates are ranked in order of preference as opposed to selecting a single candidate. This system is used in 73 countries all over the world, and today I'm speaking to Deputy Electoral Commissioner Chris Abent about this voting system. Can you explain how preferential voting works in Legislative Assembly?
Yeah, look, the Legislative Assembly is the House of Parliament where the government is formed, and they have what's called a full preferential system. So if there are 5 candidates contesting that election in a certain district, then the electors need to put the numbers 1 to 5 on the ballot paper, so they show their preference for each candidate. The one they like the most, they would give 1, and the candidate they prefer the least, they would give 5. So if you look at this sample, you'll see in this case there are 6 candidates on this ballot paper, and so you'd need to put a number in every one of those boxes. If they only just put a tick, like they do in some countries, then it would be informal and the vote would not count. The council's a bit more complicated because you're not voting for one person, you're voting for 6 people to represent you in the upper house in your region. And there are a lot more candidates, so if you look at this one, that's a sample of a Legislative Council ballot paper, and there are 2 ways the voter can mark it. They can either put a 1 next to the group or party or candidate they prefer, or they can put a number next to every candidate on the ballot paper. Most people tend to go this way, but if they want to show their preference for all of the candidates, then they can do that. The voting occurs up to 6 o'clock on polling day, and then after 6 o'clock, at 800 polling places throughout Western Australia, the people who are working in those open the ballot boxes and start the counting. If one of the candidates gets more than half of all of the number 1s, then that person will win and the election has been determined. If no one gets more than half of all the number 1s, then what happens is they look at, well, which candidate got the smallest number of 1s, and then they look at what was the second preference on those ballot papers, and they're allocated to the remaining candidates. And then they keep doing that until one of the candidates has got over half of the total number of first preference votes, or what we call an absolute majority.
Do you think this is an effective voting system, and are there any drawbacks?
It is more complicated than, say, a first past the post system, where you just tick the candidate you think should be elected, because it takes longer to count and it's a bit more complicated. And therefore you do have some informal votes where people vote, but because they don't do it properly, their vote won't count, so it's informal. But that's a fairly small percentage of the total vote. So to answer your question, yes, I do. I think it's an effective system, and it's certainly a very democratic system of voting.
This is Josie Thornton reporting for Undercurrent.
Well, times are tough for many in the lead up to the election, and believe it or not, times are pretty tough in TV, especially in community TV. And in the lead up to that upcoming election, Labor has made us here at WTV a very special promise. Bianca Olsen tells you more.
Shadow Minister for Culture and Arts John Hyde has promised West TV a $50,000 grant if the Labor government are to win the state election in March. These grants have been promised to Perth-based arts organisations that Labor feel have been doing it tough under the Barnett government. Mr Hyde's passion for the arts has been one to develop over the years. It has led him to be involved in projects such as the Kimberley Theatre, WA's first regional theatre.
WA Labor believes that arts groups in Perth have been doing it very tough under the Barnett government. So that's why under our Community Priority Fund, we're wanting to give $50,000 grants that WA Labor government will commit to if we win the election. WA Labor thinks that community broadcasting is very important, and we recognise the success that West TV has had as the most widely watched community broadcaster in Australia. Well, WA Labor understands how tough it is for volunteer organisations who are working in the arts. And under our Community Priority Fund, $50,000 can be used to help with the training of volunteers and staff to get necessary equipment. We understand that arts groups always need support, and we're hoping that this Community Priority Fund will help West TV to be delivering an even better product. Well, WA Labor believes that the creativity of our residents is one of the most important things going for us as West Australians. We think that we need to nurture and encourage particularly young people in WA to pursue creative jobs and creative training opportunities, and we certainly believe that West TV provides a lot of that important training, professional training in the creative field. Well, I'm still a union member in Actors Equity. I've run theatre companies. I love the arts. The arts are as important to a human being as is health and transport and housing. What helps make us very much human. And I think WA has a lot to gain from being more involved with the arts. Well, I think you need to judge a political party on what they do when they're in government. And when WA Labor was in government, we led the biggest expansion of arts activity and arts funding this state's ever seen. People in the arts benefited from the boom last time. We have a beautiful Northbridge Theatre, a new Blue Room Theatre, the Perth Arena was built, and importantly, under our $73 million Ignite package, many arts companies across the state were given CPI indexed funding. Now all of that's been cut back under the Barnett government, and people in the arts know that they haven't benefited from the boom under the Barnett government.
Although polls indicate that the Barnett government will return after the state election, Mr Hyde remains quietly confident in his party's chances.
I'm never confident about elections, but I'm hoping that in the run-up to March the 9th, people will look at all the policies that affect them, and I certainly believe that when it comes to the arts, WA Labor is well ahead in looking after the arts needs of West Australians.
This is Bianca Olsen reporting for Undercurrent.
Well, our city is certainly a very multicultural place, especially with the recent With Love to Australia Russian concert here in the city of Perth. Miles Riley was there.
Russian folklore ensemble Rusashi are proud to present With Love to Australia, a multicultural festival featuring the best of Russian music, dance and culture.
Today we celebrate Russian culture and this in square in the heart of the city of Perth, and we doing a lot of songs, a lot of dancing, different costumes. We have named With Love to Australia because we always before make the performance with love from Russia, with love from Russia, but we never say we love you Australia from the stage, and we would like that the Australian people, general public, know more about Russian culture, about Russia.
There was also a special performance by a Serbian dance group. We spoke to one of their dancers about what she enjoys most when performing and the importance of maintaining her Serbian heritage.
I love learning the new dance. It's just such a fun experience. The costumes are so much fun. Every Sunday we go and learn a new step to the dances. I am very proud to be Serbian, and some people aren't comfortable performing in front of such an audience, and I think everyone should be proud to be Serbian and show their culture and their dance. It's something that I enjoy doing and everyone else enjoys doing, and we just want more people to enjoy it with us.
It's a great opportunity to show and share our traditions through the dancing, singing, costumes and music. I consider it's just a luck to give all these values and traditions to our next generation, and also to show people, Australian people, who we are. And I'm so glad that we can do it in this country, Australia.
Australia, we love you. And thank you that you accept us, our culture, for us, everything here. Good life and beautiful country we love.
This has been Miles Riley reporting for Undercurrent.
Well, that brings us to the end of another jam-packed episode of Undercurrent. Certainly hope you were safe and well in a week full of lots of fires here in Western Australia. My name is Christy Molliger. Don't forget to join us again next week for the show made just for you here in WA, Undercurrent.
Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.